This is a throwaway account because the people involved in this know my original account. For context, my wife and I have been married for around 5 years. We have had a very good life, and the marriage was as good as it gets. At least that's what I think. My business went down in the last year, and I have been working day and night to get things back on track. I would always find time for her, and we would do a lot of things together. She admits there's been no neglect or anything negative from my side. But about 8 months ago, during a random party, she met a guy and they quickly became friends. I never had any problem with her spending time with guys because I think it's not my place to control what she does and how she lives her life. The guy she met is a medical practitioner, and he lost his apartment about a month or so after they met. So since we live in a male 5-bedroom house, she asked him to move in until he could find another place. He was a decent chap and always used to treat me with respect and would never interfere into my space. My wife and I would spend our times together. But slowly things changed. I am shaking, so if I am unable to write this cohesively, please forgive me. His influence starts creeping in slowly. He finds ways to not find his place. My wife and he started to spend more time together. I never doubted my wife, even through all this, because of the way she was acting with me and how we were. Our intimacy life was good, our couple's goals were worked on together, etc. A week or so ago, I got a call from a friend's friend saying that he saw my wife and her friend in a compromising situation. He wouldn't answer what that situation was. He said he didn't want to say anything before, a month or so ago, but now had to tell me this even if it means I would not trust him again or at the risk of facing abuse. I was shocked, heartbroken, and it felt like my world had slipped away in the matter of a few minutes. It just felt like everything you could believe in, everything you trusted, was shattered. I called my wife and said we need to talk. She must have sensed something was wrong, so she came running from wherever she was. I told her about the call and some of the details he told me, one of which was that she had traveled to another city and he had seen her with the guy over there. My wife was shocked, but she didn't refuse anything. She simply said that she kinda liked the guy, but nothing had happened between them. I asked her if she liked him, loved him, and she simply said yes. She went on to explain that she is poly, and I will always be the one she keeps coming back to, or the primary or something like that, and that she would like to open the marriage so she can meet other people now and then. She said she is kind of having an affair, but nothing has happened between them and that she would like to proceed with him. She thinks this fling with him will last only for a few more months, and others in the future, if and whenever that happens. But she loves me and wants to be with me and continue this relationship. I know this is not normal, but I do love her very much, although I just can't make sense of this situation. It's as if she is telling me, now after all these years of marriage, that I have to find a way to be okay with her poly ways. But the sad thing is that I wish she would have told me this before, and perhaps we could have talked it over and found some way to make it work. But now I feel like I have been cheated by both of them and been taken for granted as a fool. I know that a lot of people will think the same. That's why I am requesting you to not abuse me. I am genuinely sad and confused and don't want an open marriage. Maybe I am not progressive enough. I know the easiest thing is to get a divorce and be done with it, but I do genuinely love her very much, and I know she loves me too. Can you please help me to make sense of this situation even though it's against most norms that we know about? Please, please, please help me. I don't know what to think and what to do. I have moved out for a few weeks to clear my head, but I am not getting clarity whatsoever. P.S. This is not spam and I am not making this up. Some advice, any advice would make my life easier. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Being poly is a ridiculous excuse when it comes out after 5 years of marriage and after being caught cheating. She's not poly. There is no such thing as a poly person. There are polyamorous relationships and they are based on a mutual agreement, and it's not your case. She's just a cheater. Sorry about that. Comment 2. Realistically, if you're not fine with her poly ways, the only thing to do is to move on. I know this is hard, but even if you become fine with her poly ways, you'll always have it in the back of your head that she broke your trust by not telling you before you found out, so it's best to move on. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the support on my last post. It's been a crazy week, and I've got a lot to update you on. So, after I moved out to clear my head, things got even more complicated. I've been staying at my buddy's place, trying to figure out what to do about my wife and her situation. I've been doing a lot of thinking about our past, trying to see if there were any signs I missed. Remember how I said my wife and I used to do a lot of things together? Well, it turns out that while I was busy trying to save my business, she started doing more things without me. She'd go to art classes, yoga, and even started a book club. I thought it was great she was finding her own interests, but now I'm wondering if that's when she started feeling like she needed more than just me. Anyway, back to the update. A few days ago, I decided to go back to the house to grab some of my stuff. I wasn't expecting anyone to be home, but when I got there, I heard noises coming from the living room. It was my wife and the guy laughing and talking like I wasn't even a part of their world anymore. My heart sank. I grabbed my things and left without them even noticing. The next day, my wife called me. She said she missed me and wanted to talk. We met up at a coffee shop, and she dropped the news on me. She told me she was pregnant. I was shocked. We hadn't been trying for a kid, and with everything going on, this was the last thing I expected. She said she didn't know who the father was, and that just made everything worse. I couldn't even process what she was saying. I just got up and left. I've been avoiding her calls ever since. I don't know if I can be a part of this mess anymore. It's like our whole marriage was a lie. But then, 2 days ago, I got a call from the guy. He said he needed to talk to me, man to man. We met at a park, and he told me he was in love with my wife. He said he never meant for any of this to happen, but he couldn't help how he felt. He also said he was planning to move out and find his own place. But now with the baby news, he didn't know what to do. I was furious. I wanted to punch him, but I just stood there, feeling helpless. He had the nerve to ask me what I was going to do, like I had all the answers. I told him I didn't know and walked away. I've been thinking about the early days with my wife, how we used to be so in love. We met in college, and it was like we were meant for each other. We had the same sense of humor, loved the same movies, and could talk for hours about anything and everything. It's hard to reconcile those memories with what's happening now. I've been talking to some friends about it, trying to get their perspective. Some of them think I should fight for my marriage, while others think I should just let her go. I'm torn. I still love her, but I don't know if I can ever trust her again. And then yesterday, I found out that the guy had been fired from his job. Apparently, there were some issues with his medical practice, and he was let go. My wife called me, crying, saying she didn't know what to do. She's worried about the baby, about money, about everything. I don't know what to do either. I feel like I'm in the middle of a nightmare, and I can't wake up. I'm supposed to meet with my wife again tomorrow to talk about the pregnancy and what we're going to do. I'm dreading it. I make Valentine's gift basket for partner, but miss their call, so they berate me and admit they didn't pick their gift for me while I'm a jobless nursing student, and now I'm heartbroken. So basically, I was super excited for Valentine's Day. I made a basket for him where I put a lot of chocolates in it. I brought him cookies that I knew he likes, and I also put a stuffed bear in it. I cooked him brownies, and I ordered a portrait of us. He got me roses, a basket, and a big stuffed bear. Well, today I accidentally didn't answer his phone call. I didn't think it was going to upset him so much. Apparently, not answering him made him very angry. He started berating me about the gift I got him for Valentine's Day. He told me I didn't put any effort into it and how he just wanted to rip apart the bear and the portrait I got for him because they were low value to him. Honestly, my heart is breaking. He even called me useless. He also started saying I can't do anything right. He said he's the only one who puts thought into gifts and the only one who puts effort into the relationship. I never expected him to do this. I don't know what to think. Right now, he is still going at it with me, saying I completely screwed him over with the gift I got him. He said, I don't deserve to be treated well either. Edit. I removed some information about my career from the post because he also uses Reddit, and I'm scared he is going to find this post. I also lied about the ages due to that matter. I am actually 20 and he is 21. I'd like to mention that I currently do not have a job. I'm a full-time nursing student, and all the money I used to buy him stuff is money I have saved up. Many are saying that the chocolate and the bear are more for women, but I got him chocolate because he loves chocolate and always has. As for the bear, he mentioned he wanted one a while back, so I got it for him. I find it ironic that he blew up like this on me when he told me I should have gotten him something small because I currently don't have a job. As for him, he is currently very focused on his studies too. He stresses out a lot because of school, and I believe this can also be a reason he lashed out at me. However, I don't think it's excusable. A new pattern I've seen him getting into recently is name-calling. We had an argument in the past, and he kept tormenting me, pushing my buttons and saying things he knew would hurt me. In one of those moments, I got offended and called him a mother. After I did that, I apologized profusely, and it's been the only time I called him a bad word. However, after I did that, he gave me hell for days. I have never once called him something like that again. But ever since then, he's gotten comfortable with calling me a B, H, a dumbass, and also a piece of sh. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Honey, how many more times will you be too busy to answer the phone? It's going to happen. It's normal for a full-time student to be busy. It's normal for calls to be missed. It's normal for you to call someone back hours or even days later. What your boyfriend is doing is not normal. Return the gifts, get your money back, and dump him. No one deserves to be yelled at. No one deserves to be punished for being busy. No one. You deserve a soft life full of love and a partner who contributes meaningfully to that. You are worthy. It only gets worse from here if you stay. Don't let him make you feel small. Be kind to yourself. You could have done everything perfectly, and he still would have found a reason to be mad. Who taught you that love had to be like this? Comment 2. I'm sorry, you are thoughtless and useless when he literally did the most stereotypical Valentine's Day ever. The fact that he's speaking angrily to you because you missed a call is frightening, and the things he is saying are not only horrible but also very untrue. You put far more effort and thought into Valentine's Day than he did. Please don't feel you need to accept this. Being single is a lot healthier than being with someone who verbally abuses and demeans you. Now, for the update. A lot has happened since my last post, and I'm still reeling from the fallout. After the Valentine's Day disaster, things went from bad to worse with my boyfriend. I thought the argument over the gifts was just a one-time thing, but it opened up a whole can of worms that I wasn't prepared for. Remember how I mentioned he started name-calling? Well, it escalated. He began using those hurtful names in almost every argument we had. It was like he had a list of insults ready just to throw at me whenever he felt like it. And the worst part? He started doing it in front of our friends. It was humiliating. One night, we were at a small get-together with some of our closest friends. We were playing a board game, and I made a silly mistake. He didn't just correct me, he called me an idiot in front of everyone. Our friends were shocked, and I could see the pity in their eyes. I wanted to crawl into a hole and disappear. But that wasn't even the jaw-dropping moment. A few days later, I found out he had been talking about me behind my back. He told our mutual friends that I was clingy and that he felt suffocated by me, that I was too emotional and that he was considering breaking up with me. I couldn't believe it. The same guy who got me roses and a big stuffed bear was now painting me as some sort of burden. I confronted him about it, and that's when the biggest surprise came. He didn't deny it. Instead, he turned it around on me, saying that if I were more independent and less sensitive, he wouldn't have to vent to our friends. He said it was my fault for making him feel trapped. I was stunned. How could he blame me for his actions? The confrontation turned into a full-blown argument. He brought up the Valentine's Day gifts again, saying that they were a perfect example of how I didn't understand him. That I should have known better than to get him something so childish as a stuffed bear, even though he had mentioned wanting one before. And then, he dropped another bombshell. He admitted that he didn't even pick out the gifts he gave me for Valentine's Day. He had his sister do it because he was too busy with school. All this time, I thought he had put thought and effort into our relationship, but it was all a facade. I was heartbroken. I had poured so much of myself into making him happy, using the little money I had saved up from my nursing studies, and for what? To be called names, to be talked about behind my back, and to be made to feel worthless. The injustice of it all was overwhelming. I had been so careful with my words after calling him a name that one time, and I had apologized profusely. Yet he felt it was okay to continuously belittle me and make me the villain in our relationship. I wish I could say I had a happy update to share, that we worked things out and he realized the error of his ways. But the truth is, I'm still trying to figure out what to do next. I'm a full-time nursing student with no job, and my entire world has been turned upside down by someone I thought cared about me. Husband ignores toddler to scroll on his phone, so I confront him and demand he steps up or leaves, and now he's Mr. Mom and even his family notices. I am a stay-at-home mom and my husband works 55 hours a week, sometimes more. It's a long day, but not necessarily hard or mentally draining work. I've always known I was going to be the default parent just because of that. He's always been my best friend, and I'm worried about seriously hurting his feelings because he's always worried about being a bad dad. When he gets home from work, immediately he's on the couch scrolling TikTok or on YouTube. I get that after the kind of hours he works, he needs to unwind and chill. But I hate that he does it in front of our toddler. And it's not just for 30 minutes when he gets home. All night long, he's scrolling to the point if I have to go take a shoot, I have to announce it to him that I'm leaving the room, and it's his responsibility to make sure our kid doesn't accidentally unalive himself, 'cause toddler. If you know, you know. When I come back, he's still scrolling, and our toddler is standing on the back of the couch pretending he's Johnny Knoxville. When I take a shower, I get out 45 minutes later, and he's still facing phone. I've mentioned to him how he should use that time to play with the kiddo since he doesn't get a lot of time at home. He said he did, and I just always happened to catch him when he just went back to his phone. I feel so gaslit. If he's watching the kiddo while I'm doing laundry or dishes, I poke my head in, and he's on his phone. Every time. I have seen him play, and kiddo just ends up getting upset because he doesn't know what to do with him. When I'm playing with the kiddo and my husband is in the room, he's on his phone, so kiddo never goes up to him, grabs his hand to bring him to play like he does with me or even the grandparents. I feel like he should be watching us or joining us, learning what kiddo likes to play so he can do that when I'm not there. Nope. Face and phone. He claims his love language is quality time. Yeah, sure. Now, husband is getting upset when the kiddo doesn't want him. He's pushing him away or that he can't soothe him because kiddo knows he has to fight the phone for attention from a dad who won't know how to play with him. Husband says things like, "Why do you hate me? I've never hurt you. I guess I'll just move out." I get why kiddo wants just me, and I'm tired of being cautious towards my husband's feelings by not bringing up how bad of a dad he's being. He's not a deadbeat because he's here, but not really here. I still do everything kid-related, even on his days off. Diapers, bath, reading, nap time, cook every meal, and clean up every meal. He just learned how to strap him into his car seat last week. Our kid is 2. But in the past, anytime I've brought up how he needs to change something or help out more, he gets sad. Puppy Dog Eyes says, "I know I'm a shitty person, and I feel awful for making him feel like he's not good enough when he's constantly telling me how beautiful I am and what a great mom and wife I am. I wish my love language was words of affirmation because he's really good at that. But it's acts of service, and I get none of that. And I feel like I'm constantly asking more from him like he isn't enough. Maybe he isn't, but asking for more from a man who is working so much to provide for us makes me feel like a witch. I know I'm not responsible for his feelings because he's an adult, but I'm still his wife, and I should care about his emotional well-being, right?" Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Sometimes you have to do what is best for your kid. In this case, that would be telling your husband he is indeed a bad dad, and if he doesn't change, he will continue to get worse at being a parent. The puppy dog eyes are pure manipulation. Don't fall for it. Be calm and factual. For example, I'm taking a shower. I need you to put your phone down and pay attention to your child until I am back. If he is on the phone again when you get back, then you tell him next time you will just pay someone else to watch the kid while you shower since he can't handle being a good dad. You are not doing your kid any favors by allowing this to go on, and eventually it will be too late to do anything about it. Be strong and stand up for your child's right to have a safe and happy environment. Comment 2. You know how I know he already knows he's a shitty dad? Because when you mention anything to him, he gets the puppy dog eyes and says, I know I'm a shitty person. So now suddenly you have to comfort him. He's manipulative as frick, and I find it hard to believe he loves you or the kiddo because he's okay with you doing all the parenting and all the chores and everything in your lives except his job. He's a shitty husband as well as a shitty dad, and he has you right where he wants you, worried about his well-being instead of your child's or your own. So straighten your spine, tell him what you told us, and tell him it's unacceptable. If he doesn't change, then, well, unless you leave him, this is your life. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the comments and advice on my last post. It's been a wild couple of weeks, and I've got quite the update for you all. So after I last posted, things came to a head in a way I never expected. My husband, let's call him Jake, had a day off, and I thought maybe, just maybe, he'd step up and help out with our toddler, Max. But no, it was the same old story. Jake on the couch, phone in hand, while I ran around doing everything. I was at my wit's end. Then, something happened that changed everything. Max got sick, really sick. We're talking a high fever, throwing up, the works. I was frantic trying to get him to the doctor, and guess what? Jake finally put his phone down. But it wasn't to help with Max. No. He was too busy arguing with me about whether we should even take Max to the doctor. He thought it was just a little bug and that I was overreacting. I couldn't believe it. Here I was, worried sick about our child, and Jake was more concerned about a potential doctor's bill than Max's health. That was the moment I realized I couldn't do this anymore. I couldn't be the only parent in this house. So I told Jake exactly that. I told him he needed to step up or step out. You could have heard a pin drop. Jake looked at me like I'd slapped him. But then something amazing happened. He apologized, a real sincere apology. He admitted he'd been neglecting both Max and me, and he promised to change. And you know what? He actually did. The next day, he took Max to the doctor himself while I caught up on some much-needed rest. Turns out Max had a pretty bad ear infection, and Jake was shaken up by the whole ordeal. He realized how serious it could have been, and how he'd almost let his obsession with his phone get in the way of caring for his own son. Since then, Jake's been different. He's been present. He's been playing with Max, actually engaging with him, and not just going through the motions. He's been helping out around the house too, without me having to ask. It's like he's a new man. But the real test came last weekend. We were at a family barbecue, and Jake's brother, who's always been the golden child, was there with his perfect family. In the past, Jake would have been on his phone the whole time, trying to avoid any comparisons. But not this time. He was right there with us, playing with Max, laughing and actually talking to people. His brother even commented on the change, and I could see the pride in Jake's eyes. It was like he finally realized what he'd been missing out on. And then the subtle justice I'd been hoping for happened. Jake's mom, who's always been critical of him, pulled me aside. She told me she'd noticed the change in Jake and that she was proud of him. Proud of him for being a good dad and husband. She even thanked me for sticking by him and helping him see what's important. It was a small moment, but it meant the world to me and to Jake. He overheard the conversation, and I could see the impact it had on him. It was like he finally understood that being present and involved was what made him a good dad, not just providing for us financially. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.